Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode, and we're here for the Malaysian Grand Prix of Season 3, sort of in the final quarter-ish of the F1 2017 career mode here. We've got this race and 5 more left to go, and it's a personal favourite of mine on the calendar. Obviously, it was a little bit remodelled in this year's game, so it took away a little bit. There are certain corners that just don't feel the same way that they used to, but nonetheless, I do really enjoy this circuit. Nice and flowing. And hopefully should be a good one. It's been a bit of a curse for us in this series. I know Season 1 wasn't great. I think Season 2 was a little better, but still not exactly brilliant. So let's see, obviously, what we can do for Season 3 as the sun is setting on qualifying. And we charge across the line for our second lap with 1:50 left to go in the session. So we charge towards turn 1 just shy of 200 miles an hour as we jump onto the brakes, go wide to tuck it back in through the never-ending turn 1 and then get it slowed down, kiss the apex of turn 2, then flat on the power. And you can see now we're over 2.5 tenths up on our best time. We're currently sat in P8 as we come up behind Perez, who is out on his lap. He goes to the inside, and we actually set the fastest first sector of qualifying by 0.03 of a second there. As we now come through the second sector up behind Hamilton, got a little bit in the dirt here, delayed us getting on the power. Out of the double right-hander, Hamilton peels over to the inside as we now come up to the hairpin. Once again, just a little bit too wide of the apex. The rear end came round a bit quickly. We come across and we're only a tenth down on the best time. But we've gone very wide through that right-hander, and that's delayed us by getting on the power. We've easily lost a couple of tenths there, but booting out the final corner, a little bit slipstream from Palmer up towards the line, and that puts us P5 for now with a 32.4. Definitely time left on the table. If I had time and enough fuel to go for one more, I would have definitely improved. But Alonso's still up there in P3 and us down in P6. Only 3.5 tenths-ish, or 4.5 tenths off Fernando. So I'll take that, personally. I've been a lot further off the back of Alonso. So Raikkonen, Hamilton, Alonso, Vettel, Bottas, myself, and then Verstappen, Ocon, Ricciardo, Perez is our top 10. But yeah, Raikkonen and Hamilton very close, separated by 15 thousandths of a second there, and Alonso just over a further 10th back. So, the Grand Prix could have technically done a one-stop, but I really didn't fancy it. I think the two-stop's going to make the race a whole lot more enjoyable, going from supers to softs to supers. That's obviously the strategy the game was recommending. Apparently, my one that I've picked is going to cost me like a second and a half, but I think it's the better strategy. I think taking the pain in the middle and being faster at the end is going to be more beneficial towards us now as we bump extra fuel into the car and we build with the lights. 5 are on, 5 are out, and away we go for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Vettel's had a poor start. Alonso's had a good one down the inside of Raikkonen. Hamilton pulls into lead. We get the slipstream off Bottas. Then we get it off Raikkonen. Going towards the outside of turn 1. We are the wide line. Hamilton in a clear-cut lead. And then we've had to swerve out the corner. And then very tight on the inside, we've banged into the side pod of Raikkonen. Alonso is wide. We're second coming out the corner. Bottas is on our inside. We're having a drag race with the Mercedes up towards turn 4. Hamilton has well and truly built a lead already of 1.6 seconds there, and we've had to go wide, give Bottas the room. Can we get him on acceleration? No, we've gone too wide. Bottas pulls ahead of us there, but he goes wide into the long left-hander. Can we hold the position? We make contact! Oversteer, just keep it out of the barrier, but that has cost us huge as more cars stream past us. We're back on the track in 13th place. We've got grass all over our tyres. We're down the field. We're going to try and go into the double right-hander. We've got no grip. We've understeered wide onto the marbles, and that's allowed more cars through. We're down to 17th after one of our best qualifyings in Malaysia as we dive down the inside there of Sainz and Felipe Massa. One of our best qualifyings in Malaysia has gone to pot straight away after a contact with Valtteri Bottas going through turn 5. Our right front just tapped his left rear, and we just kept it out of the barrier and just, nearly made it 2 for 2 on impact with the barrier in recent Grand Prix. So Hamilton setting the pace as we had said, and now we are accelerating out of the final corner in the slipstream of Kevin Magnussen. Can we now look to make a move down his inside into turn 1? We are gaining on the Haas driver. He pulls to the inside slightly, but nowhere near aggressive enough as we bring it in. We're just going to dive it down the inside of Palmer as well, as there was a tiny bit of room. We had to bump over the curb a little bit. We've had to go wide through turn 2. We haven't been able to stick the move, but we got better traction due to the wide exit. And now we're going to swing it to the outside line versus Jolyon Palmer as we head up towards turn 4. We should hopefully clear the Renault before the corner. Indeed we have, and that is us back up to 13th place where we were just before we dropped it through the double right-hander. But let's get a replay of the start and find out the cause of events, because there was some serious shenanigans going on through the first couple of corners. So there's us with that excellent start. We initially pulled out to get slipstream from Alonso. Then I decided to get some from Raikkonen and go 4 wide into turn 1. Bottas with the move of the century down the outside. And then you just see that second bit of contact Raikkonen had that made us turn out the corner. And then Alonso drops it with the help of Kimi Raikkonen on the exit of turn 2 there. And we go side by side with Valtteri Bottas up towards turn 4. We're 4 places up from where we started at this point. Hamilton with a gap of 1.6 up towards turn 4. But this is where we've had to go wide, give Bottas the room. And we've just gained, you see it there, a bit of dust kicked up, and it's just through this right-hander where we just made a slight tap of contact there and just kept it out of the barrier. I honestly can't believe we got away with that one. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've lost a lot of positions, and then it was the Renault of Palmer was down our inside here, and we just had no grip. Tyres were hot due to the skid, and of course all the grass on them has cost us major there, but now it's fight back time. This is what a champion's drive can be. Can we recover and still get some decent points out of this weekend? So, coming out of turn, the final corner, up behind Danny Kvyat now in the slipstream. DRS wide open. We're gaining slowly on the Toro Rosso. Now it gets harder. We're going to have to try and make the move and get through the field. Dive down the inside of the Toro Rosso, man. That is us up into P12, and that's us now behind Hulkenberg, who's in P11. Then we're up behind the Red Bulls of Ricciardo in 10th, Verstappen in 9th. They're having a horrible back end of Season 3. We've got a brilliant amount of speed coming through the long right-hander. Are we going to dive it up the inside of Hulkenberg? Answer, yes we are. Indeed we do. Hulkenberg just left the door open, had no pace whatsoever for us going down the inside there. And now we move on a couple of laps later to lap 6. We're closing up to Daniel Ricciardo here. A couple of cars already in the pits, including Fernando Alonso here. So we're going to open the DRS versus Daniel Ricciardo here, and we're going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap, as we set a personal best at the end of lap 6 there. So things are going very well. Ricciardo defends to the inside. That's fine. We will go all the way around the outside, just keeping our foot planted. Dive down the inside of turn 2. Don't give Ricciardo the ability to turn in. Textbook overtake for Malaysia. That's exactly how it's done, and I love these aerial shot replays. I had to get this in there, but just look at the way we kept the car round the outside. We were able to squirt the throttle earlier than Ricciardo was, and just didn't give him the option to turn in, really. That position was ours through halfway through turn 1. We just had to keep the psychological edge there against Ricciardo. So, end of lap 7, we're coming into the pits. I love the pit lane entry here at Malaysia. If you're coming in, you can just go to the inside, take the corner too quickly, and you'll naturally drift out wide. As we went to low to obviously save a bit of fuel, and we got the pit lane pretty much perfect there. Quite a long and wide pit lane here in Malaysia, so you're pretty unsighted when you turn into your pit garage, but there's just so much room between the garages here, unlike Singapore where we got cost a lot of time. 1.9 second stop by the McLaren boys, but we got cost time against Ricciardo. For some reason we were held against him. Probably should have been safe, but yeah, Ricciardo's been let to be ahead of us, and obviously he's on the super soft, we're on the soft tyre, so we now have to try and get past him again with no tyre advantage. So let's try and do it as soon as possible, because the longer we leave it, the harder it's going to be. Bump it up to Rich as we now head towards turn 4. Can we stick with Daniel Ricciardo going up towards turn 4? We're getting a bit of speed on him here. Are we going to be able to make any kind of move against him? Not quite. I braked late, but yeah, nowhere near close enough. Sometimes I think about doing a massive dive bomb, but it wasn't to be. Thankfully, later on in the lap, Ricciardo got tucked up behind Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber, who of course was moving at the pace of approximately a snail. Snail's not a measure of measurement, but nonetheless, I'll do it anyway. Slipstream, DRS behind Ericsson. That's actually going to give us a lot of overspeed, so we can lunge it down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. We got a little bit wide on exit. That allows Ricciardo to do the switchback, cut underneath us, but we still have Rich Mix and DRS on the exit of the corner. That's going to allow us to retain the gap over him. More cars coming out the pits here. There's one of the Renaults, and we've filtered out behind Verstappen. And then we've got Ocon and Grosjean going side by side. So there is a big old squabble amongst these cars up here. The Force Indias of Ocon's on soft tyres, Perez on super soft tyres. We've got Verstappen ahead of us. There's easily up to P5 in front of me there, so let's get a move on. Let's see what happens here as we close up towards Verstappen. Everyone's very slow up into turn 4 because Wehrlein has started on the soft tyres and is up in P6. And you know what? He's bloody holding it as we get further into the lap. So, continuing on with our rich mix to keep up here, Wehrlein goes defensive into the hairpin, and that's going to allow me to lunge it down the inside of Verstappen. And then Ocon Perez wasn't looking at his mirrors whatsoever, so he was susceptible. We couldn't able to get him into the hairpin, but we get him into the next corner, because once again, he just left the door open after initially going back down our inside. That's us up into 9th place. Next up is Romain Grosjean, and this soft tyre isn't proving to be too bad. We've actually got a little bit of pace on it. Well, yes, we've gone wide into the final corner. That's going to give me a lovely bit of speed on exit, a bit of traction. Wehrlein's giving him a bit of slipstream, but we've got Rich Mix and DRS as well here. Can we make a double move? Maybe into turn 1. It'll be risky, but you know what? Risk favours the bold. Wehrlein locks up anyway, so that's going to allow Grosjean through on him. He went wide. That saved us any kind of connection. And there you go. That's us up from P11 into P7 quite easily. Esteban Ocon now ahead of us has P6. And we've just got to try and stick with him. Obviously, we appear to have the better car in certain sectors of the circuit. Our car is better in the high-speed corners versus Ocon. We have a better chassis, but his car just once again in the straights is a little bit better. So, beginning of lap 13, we're closing once again. This is our favourite overtaking spot. If we get it right at the final corner, we just close so much in the last 100 metres of the straight. We nearly overshot the corner, but once again, just utilising the outside line and then squirting the throttle, make it so they can't turn in into turn 2, and it was perfect. We now cut a big old chunk out the Grand Prix because not a lot happened. It was just us getting our head down and making sure we were setting consistent laps. Vettel has come in, already done his second pit stop. That's why he's behind us here in P5, and that's why we're up to P4. So Vettel's on fresh softs. I'm on fairly old soft. This is academic. He's going to try and make the move here into the final corner. I'm not just going to roll over and die, though. You know, as we come out of the corner, we get a bit better slipstream. We bump it up to standard mix. We're going to go into Vettel's slipstream. He's, of course, got DRS, but slipstream will still be nicely in effect. We're going to break 195 miles an hour down the inside of turn 1. This is a message to Sebastian. Admittedly, I did go very wide, and unfortunately not calculated wide. As in wide, I've, you know, slammed the anchors on a bit too late hard. So Vettel there, easily able to retake the move. That's him comfortably up then into 4th place, and I think he's just going to disappear down the road. So anyway, we're coming in at the end of the lap anyway. Vettel's already got a couple of seconds to us, but here we go once again. Just take the final corner, nice and tactical. Didn't want to push too hard because my tyres were a little bit dated and they weren't going to give me much grip through the long corners, but bit cautious on pit entry there. I'm not too sure why. It's like I forgot where the pit entry line was, but anyway, we had a fairly decent stint, I like to think, on those soft tyres, especially with everyone scrapping. So Alonso gets past us for 5th place. That's fine. He was a long way ahead of us. 2 seconds by the McLaren boys, and that is us onto super soft tyres. And this is the benefit of where we took the pain earlier to take the gain later, because there's Verstappen has come out now, and you can see it here. Esteban Ocon comes out behind me, so we've got ourselves up to P7, and we're on super soft tyres to the end of this Grand Prix. And I've got a little hunch that that's not going to be where we finish. We can get after Max Verstappen, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've got 0.86 laps of fuel left extra in the car. Gap is 3 seconds. I've got 8 laps. I think I can catch that down. So anyway, by the end of lap 22, Verstappen is very, very much in sight. We're going to come across the line here in a moment's time, set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on a 34 flat, and the gap is only 1.5 seconds to Max Verstappen. And these tyres are just giving me all the grip in the universe that I could ever ask for. And Verstappen will be very much in DRS range by the end of this lap. You see it here. We've actually lost a little bit through the course of the lap, and my rich mix is running out. But my saving grace, the safety car comes out due to Marcus Ericsson's retirement. I honestly don't know why he retired. Just got told by Jeff it was out of the race. I don't know if it was crash or mechanical. But what that essentially means is Hamilton leads, Raikkonen 2nd, Bottas 3rd, Vettel 4th, Alonso 5th, Verstappen 6th was the running order as the safety car came in at the end of lap 26. So we're going to have 2 laps of flat-out racing, and we are on the super soft tyre. Now, granted, annoyingly enough, I couldn't sort of keep them in check as much as I wanted to because of when the safety car came out. We had to do an additional couple of laps pushing Anyway, you just see me hounding Max. Here we go. There's the green flag. Ricciardo's out of the race the minute the safety car line ends. Here we go. Out of the final corner. Better exit than Verstappen. Rich mix in the slipstream. This is academic at this point. Just going down the inside of Verstappen. And next up is Fernando Alonso. Verstappen tries to hold it around the outside, but we're once again just going to push him out wide. Not allow him to cut underneath us. Excellent textbook defending there through the long right-hander, and Alonso is up next. So this is going to be our best opportunity to get him out of the final corner. Hamilton then sets the fastest lap going on to the final lap of the race. So annoyingly shattered my lap, and Alonso was just too good. Annoyingly enough, even with all of his issues of straight line speed, he was just a little bit too good out of the final corner for me to get him. So our next chance is out of turn 2 up towards turn 4. This is going to be our last opportunity here to overtake Fernando for 5th place. Let's see if we can do it. We are a little bit far back though, admittedly, and I think even I can't, try a lunge from that far back, a good solid half a second. So yeah, as we come around the final corner though, it's been a decent recovery drive. We were 17th on the first lap. We fell down the order, but we come back up to 6th as we cross the line. Decent points in Malaysia.
Well done, good finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
As I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
And that is it for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton ends up winning the Grand Prix from Kimi Räikkönen. Bottas in 3rd, getting 15 points. So he's going to claw back 7 points on us there in the Drivers' Championship after a contact with him in turn 5 on the opening lap. That puts down to 17th, but we made a recovery drive to 6th place, which is where we started. Vettel brings it home 4th for Ferrari, Alonso 5th, and myself in 6th. So again, double decent points for McLaren there. But obviously, Mercedes and Ferrari have scored more than us, so we need to be wary of that in the closing stages of this championship. And then Verstappen, Ocon, Perez, Hulkenberg gets points for Renault after Daniel Ricciardo's retirement. As we move to the Drivers' Championship, we are now down now. Our lead is cut to 52 points, and Hamilton re-overtakes Alonso. Those are the real developments there for the Drivers' Championship. But, Bottas can take little nibbles into our lead, but realistically speaking, unless he starts winning races and we start getting 0 points, that's going to be the big changes there. Constructors-wise, Mercedes have overtaken Ferrari, and they're now only 39 points behind us, with Ferrari just 2 more points further back, and it's, approximately a Gulf of Mexico between Red Bull and Ferrari. But Force India, hot on their heels, only 1 point behind there. But yeah, that has been the Malaysian Grand Prix. I hope you have enjoyed an interesting one. The contact with Bottas, a little bit controversial, but in the end, no real harm done. I finished where I started, and to be honest, with recent performance at this circuit, I'm actually quite happy with that, for it to be more than just sort of 10th place or no points whatsoever. But yeah, made harder for myself definitely after the issues that were had. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please remember to leave a like on the video and comment any feedback down below. If you do want to be kept up to date with everything that comes to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button and enabling them notifications so you never miss an update that comes to the channel. Next up, we have the Japanese Grand Prix, Honda's home race, and a personal favourite of mine. I feel like I say that a lot, I feel as if a track is either a personal favourite or it's a bit meh. Either way, let's see what we can do for Honda in Japan, as of course it is McLaren's final season with them as they move to Renault next year and the 2018 game. I will see you all next time.